talking about John's role as a rescuer. John, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Well, my mission is wildlife conservation and preservation of native species, domesticated and exotic, and all the territories they roam. So basically my mission is I am a rescuer. I specialize in rescuing a wide variety of species, creatures that end up getting themselves in situations that could otherwise lead to a unfortunate death or severe injuries, and what happens a lot of times, I'm able to save them before that does occur, and something I've been doing my whole life.
When you're out in the woods like this is obviously a habitat for many, many animals.
Right.
It's very peaceful right now, right? We're not seeing a lot of animals. We see occasional chipmunk or a bird. You can hear bugs and things in the background.
Right.
But when these animals venture onto our, quote, our properties, tell us about that. Tell us about your role and what you do.
Well, a lot of times what happens is, unfortunately, there are, in our case, since we live in the Pennsylvania area, there are a lot of, a wide variety of species that end up venturing their way into residential areas or even into big corporate areas as well. And they end up either getting inside the buildings or getting inside of a structure of some sort, or, I receive phone calls where people say, hey, I have an injured fox in my backyard, or, stuff of that nature, or a snake came into my house. Can you please help me out here? Or I have a wasp, hornet, yellow jacket situation. I want to remove them, but I heard that you remove them without killing them because they're very vital creatures for us and for the environment. And believe it or not, wasp, hornet, and yellow jackets are pollinators,
sure
and people don't realize that they are. They're just as beneficial as a honeybee. So for me, I get called into a wide variety of situations. Hey, there's ducklings that ended up getting stuck in a range drain. Do you know how to get them out? And I end up rushing off to that emergency, and a lot of times rescuing them, and for the most part, reuniting them with their mom, who is transporting them to water. So.
What do you think is the most exciting part of what you do? What is it, and the most rewarding? What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Well, there are so many wonderful things about doing this. I'm so grateful. It's such a great honor to be able to save a life, because we have to realize something. We're not the only ones living here. There are all these magnificent creatures roaming the planet. And basically the earth encompasses all of life, and that's what makes it exhilarating. You have all these creatures, and what we need to start doing is, for me, it's always been a code I lived by to celebrate those creatures, because we're all different, aren't we? And that's what makes us so unique. And for a snake that scurries across the ground when they're moving across the ground, we have to look at things as, or if they're ants or any other creatures, they can't help what they look like.
Right.
This is the way they were created.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about understanding and learning and keeping an open mind that we're not the only ones living here, and it's important to take care of the earth.
What about from a conservation standpoint? We spoke briefly about that on our way up, on our way up to East Mountain. What are we doing to the environment, though, that's causing these animals to want to move out of their habitats into our habitats?
Right.
What do we need to do, and what are we doing, and what do we need to do?
I think, and in today's day, it's really difficult, because a lot of situations you see where you see big companies moving into taking over the land, and it's a scenario where they just blow right through the forests, and they don't hesitate at all to knock down a whole entire forest without considering that, once again, there's creatures just like us just trying to live, and you have to consider those things. You can't just go and wipe out a whole forest without considering what's living there. And it's really crucial to consider other life before moving forward. The problem today, I believe, is that, there's so many good things going on in life. There's so many great people out there doing so much positive work for the world itself and for all the creatures that do roam it. And it's a situation where we need to realize that wildlife and all creatures, native, domestic, exotic, the earth is calling out to us to make change, to become better. Because you see where we're heading right now. It's evident. Everyone sees it. There might be a day where you see most of the species that you see roaming through the woods now. You might see them, the future generations to come may only hear about them and may only see them in museums. Life has become so unpredictable because we have continued to just push the environment to the max, whether it be chemicals being pumped into the ground for drilling, whether it be not considering, it could be on a large level or a small level. It's just important to consider all life as a whole. And it's not always easy. I understand that. I get that, because progress is progress. But when you start seeing it to the point where that progress is actually affecting humans as well, then you really need to back off the throttle and reassess things and think about the damage that we're doing to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's the equipment failure that takes place, whether I'm climbing. Other times I misstep and I end up, this isn't something I promote by any means.
No.
But, I end up falling or something and getting injured. One of the things that I've benefited from is that, my perception and what I do, I don't want to say I'm comfortable, because, you're never really comfortable in situations of that nature. Do they fit you? Yeah, we all have situations that fit all of us. And for me, situations that are dangerous and uncomfortable for others are respectfully fitting for me. It works. Sometimes when I'm underground in a rain drain system, and I'll have to remind myself, okay, wait a minute now. Stop, take a deep breath here, because it's important to stay composed.
Sure.
Because one thing you can't do is you can't lose that. Because if you panic or get uncomfortable, it's then that you do get injured. And I don't want that to happen. Of course not. I have family. I don't want to do that to them, or injure myself. So I do my best to be very calculated in what I do, because it's important to be responsible. It's being reckless is, what's that? What is that, a photo opportunity?
Right.
What is that, a selfie? That's not why I'm doing this. I'm on a mission to save wildlife, to save all creatures and the territories they roam. That's why I do this. That's why I'm doing all of this. So if I see a creature that's in need, I assess the situation, I get my gear, whatever I may need, and then I execute the mission in saving that creature. Is there a guarantee in everything I'm doing? No, not at all. It's dangerous. It can be dangerous. There's times where it's not dangerous at all, but then there's times where it's very dangerous. That's the reality of things. We're not the only ones living here. There are other creatures going all through the canopy, and what they're doing is they're living life. And that's it, in a nutshell. They're living their lives.
Go ahead.
Wildlife and all other creatures are calling out to us. This, right now, this time right now, this is our moment to make a positive difference. Because they're calling out to us to take better care of the environment and all the areas that all the creatures roam. This, right now. All of us can make a positive difference. And that's what it comes down to, making a positive difference together, you and I. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and you look back on what you're leaving behind you, you want to feel good about what you did.
What are some actions we can take to do exactly what you're talking about right now?
You know, it's a situation where, whether it be on a big level or small level, whether you belong to an organization or whether it's in your backyard, it can be the tiniest contribution of not killing something when you see it out there, whether there's a bee on the ground. Human safety is always the number one priority. We know that, no doubt about that. But when you see a creature, just because you see it there doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Because like I always share, they're just doing their part living. So my point of it is, whether you're going to your backyard to help make a difference, whether you're going to a local rescue to contribute maybe an hour of your time a week, maybe it's more. Maybe you're donating some money to an organization that's working 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to and following through and helping making the environment and all the creatures a better place for everyone. That's what it comes down to, all about making a positive difference. If you don't know how to make a positive difference, you're not sure what to do, call up a local rescue. Say, hey, how can I help? And they'll say, hey, here's how you can help. You can donate a little money, or why don't you come on down and volunteer? There's so many things we can all do. You see garbage on the ground? Don't be afraid. Don't worry about it. Pick it up. Don't worry about what just go down, pick that garbage up, you'll feel a lot better. If you see a creature that's in need, if you don't know how to save that creature, call up someone who does. Call someone like me to save that creature, because their lives mean everything to them, just like yours does.
Is there an organization, or are there organizations for people who live in other areas who will be watching this? Are there organizations where they can find someone to do it? For example, a rescuers group. Are there any outside of the area that you're aware of?
So with today's technology, we have a wide variety of mediums where we're communicating with people all around the world, and it could be such a great asset to be able to do so. It has been for me. Sure. So you can either go on your Facebook, your local Facebook, or you can look up. All you have to do is type in rescue and look up and phone in to a variety of rescues. You can even call your local zoo and ask them, what can I do to help lend a hand? You can call a variety of environmental groups that might be on Facebook that are helping the environment out to make the land a better area for all the creatures and for humans as well. It's all about taking care of the environment. And there are just some of the ways you can do it.
Okay. Will there ever be a day when you'll say, I'm so tired, I don't want to do this anymore? Do you ever foresee something like that happening?
Will I ever stop doing this? In life, there are certain things I believe that you're chosen for. And I've been blessed in so many ways. I've lived so many adventures, and I'm so grateful for each of those adventures and all the people I've met along the way and all the creatures I've been so grateful to save and impact their life to make things better for them. Will I ever walk away from this? I don't think that's possible, because for me, it's a mission. I go to bed with it. I wake up with it. And, I couldn't imagine any other way. I couldn't imagine not doing this, because I've become part of it and it's become part of me. And together we're doing the best we can do to make a positive difference for all of life.
All right, so if I run into any issues, or anyone I know runs into an issue, where do we get in touch with you?
Okay, so if you ever have a situation where there is native wildlife or a cat in a tree, or stuff of that nature, or where you have an exotic creature that's on the loose somewhere that needs to be rescued, what you can do is you can look up my name, John Ackourey, on Facebook. Contact me through there, and I'll definitely respond to you and do my best to lend a helping hand.
Now, I think we briefly discussed earlier your hours. Obviously, you need to sleep, but people, I'm sure, reach out to you at all hours.
There are times where I'll be out and about on a regular schedule, just like everyone else is. But then there are times where the phone rings at could be midnight, could be 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It could be all crazy hours. If it's an emergency, or when it's an emergency, it's important to follow through. And my gear is always ready to roll, and that's it. You got to do it.